Okay, hi everyone. I'm gonna be talking to you guys about how we have been dealing with incident in the Filecoin ecosystem. I'm Jennifer. For those like who doesn't know me, you probably know me as Jenny Juju on Filecoin Slack, GitHub, and like those social media stuff. But I recently started this new team that's called FieldOS. That we're a public good development team that focus on like Filecoin R&D and like stuff like that. I have been sitting here for the like last two talks, and I realized there's a lot of like experts on the security aspect of the things in this room. Disclaimer: I'm not that. So I haven't been trained or doing security or whatever. So, but like, why am I here, right? So like, who am I? I have been working on Filecoin right before the mainnet launch, helping to launch the network, and since then I have been leading one of the implementation called Lotus. It's the first implementation of the Filecoin network, and have becoming to be involved in Filecoin development in general. And this is the team I'm in right now. It's called the FieldOS team. Again, our core mission is like secure, upgrade, and expand the utility and value created by the Filecoin network. With that being said, one of the top priority mission, as you can see there, as the number one, is that we do really care and have our commitment into helping Filecoin to keep the protocol and the network itself to be secured, and also like operational, have a high uptime to become a solid foundation for the decentralized data applications or storage applications that are built on top of the Filecoin network. That is something that the team I work in sincerely care, and that's why I got involved in a lot of those like incidents and stuff, like helping resolving them, and that's why I'm here to talk to you guys about how we deal with Filecoin incident in the past like 4 years. So how did I get myself into this mess? Let's start from that. And as I would love to call it, it's the very happy 2020 Christmas surprise. I don't want to call it gift because it's an unfortunate incident, but that's the one and only, the famous Filecoin chain halt happened around like, I would say 2 months after the mainnet launch, on, again, December 19th, a date I probably won't forget in the next like 20 years, whatever. It's caused by a little bit like a quite stupid mistake in code, which is a mismatched state compute error due to the indeterministic behavior in the code. And yeah, it started with the community. It's like, oh my God, is everything over? We just got started, but is everything over this Christmas? And that's how I got into things. And that was me. 3-4 years ago, I remember I joined Filecoin around like 2020, like August. So when this happened, I was just like 4 months into Protocol Labs at the time, and also the Filecoin ecosystem. I don't know much back in the days, but all I know was the team worked really hard to ship Filecoin. They basically work crazy hours for like 2 to 3 years just to make this protocol work. They shipped the thing, and this Christmas was the first break everyone that's focused on Filecoin supposed to be taken. And everyone go on the break for the Christmas. Family has like family and friends time. And this happened. And I was putting on call to monitoring how things goes. And again, let me remind you, I see the messages like, oh my God, is it over? So my immediate reaction was like, what the hell is going on? Like, and what am I supposed to be doing? Like, why am I here? Why am I the one like noticing this and everything? And yeah, that's the start of like how I get into the Filecoin incident in general. And that was a very brutal way for me to learn how to deal with incident and like, dealing with security and stuff. But like, it was a very steep like learning curve, and the first learning I had was tools actually matter. What I meant here is there are different tools that you need to build to actually make you to be reactive to surprises like this, like calmly. And what didn't go well in that thing is like we actually have monitoring tools built. It's called a Sentinel thing that's like Protocol Labs built to monitor, to have syncing nodes to connect with nodes to check, is the network healthy? Is it producing blocks? Is everything like normal? So we actually have that monitoring tool built at the time. It was detecting something happened at the time. However, something was broken where the tool, we have the monitoring tool, but it didn't trigger the alert to the team to actually reacting to the incident. So that was one missing piece. And then you started to see, oh my God, it's actually Jennifer be the one being the whistleblower to the team. It's like, oh my God, this is happening instead of this Sentinel tool. And that's the second piece that's needed. It's like how we alert the team to react to the incident. And that's another missing piece because at the time, again, remind you, I was really new. I was barely getting into protocol labs like workspace. I was like living in the Filecoin community space for a really long time. And at the time, it's like, I don't even know how to page people. I'm not friends yet with the developers and whatever. I don't have their phone numbers. So like, how do I, pull them in? That's another tool that's missing. And then I realized there's tools like Obsgenie and everything that was set up. But at the time, again, I wasn't aware of that. But again, that shows if you do have a good monitoring and alerting tools, that will help you to react to the incident and resolve them more effectively in general. So that's the first thing. And the second learning for me is like the process matters. Because again, if there's a process, even if the process should be effective enough, even if you are new, you at least know what's the first point of contact, what's the first action you should be doing to keep things rolling and starting to resolving the things. Back in the days, I was putting on call, however, I don't have access to that process. I don't know what to do, and that's why where I went into the panic mode, and the only thing I know I can do is panic pinging people like crazy on Slack and praying finally there's a green dot in their Slack profile picture and they will be responding to me to tell me whether there's some process to follow. But that also shows why the process matters. When there's a process, you have participants of the process, and that's why I want to go through a couple stakeholders which in my view are critical in a Filecoin incident when it happens. The first one is the implementers, which are the engineering, the dev team who created the bugs potentially in the first place, but they also know how to resolve them and evaluate the technical challenges and bugs on what's causing the incident and how we can be resolving that. The second thing are the search providers in the Filecoin network. You know them as miners in other ecosystem, but they are basically the block producers who keep the blockchain, keep moving. So they are also critical in this whole thing. They will be the one that will be deploying the fix in most of the case a lot of times. The other one is ecosystem partners. It's your customers, right? So for example, exchanges, API service providers, where token holders have their money in the exchanges. They're oh, am I losing my tokens? So they are the one dealing with the fire as well, even though they are not on your team, but they are the one have to be reacting to that. So it's very important to keep them informed on what's happening, and let them know what's the updates are, so they can communicate to their users. And ecosystem partners are extremely important as well, because different level of incident has different impacted users. They will help you evaluate the overall ecosystem impact on what the incident is going. And of course, there is a community. There's a broader community who are invested and following your project, and you just want to. And we are building a decentralized protocol, right? So you gotta keep all the decentralized, the open community informed. That's very important. And also the power of the community is significant here. You have to feed everyone not everyone, but you should try to feed them the right information so more community members can help you communicate what's going on and help you finding the resources that you can be leveraging to solve the incident. So these are the people I call the stakeholders of a Filecoin incident. As you can see in this very nice, again, Christmas surprise. We have the implement teams that is working on the fix and communicate the releases, how we patch the fix. We have the community members that are providing the information that's needed, and you also see us communicating what's going on and everything. There are salty messages, whatever, but all feedback were good feedback, right? Because it's the users that you are talking to. And last but not least, I have an example there. It's Coinbase has to make an announcement to let their users know something has happened. That's why they are making a product decision of their platform to pause the deposit for Filecoin, and then let the token holders know it's not resolved and you can continue. out of everyone that introduced the next role in this whole incident scene, again, everyone knows I call myself the cat herder in the Filecoin ecosystem from a lot of perspectives. Like here is the incident commander, like IC as we call them in the incident. So what this person do is basically making sure that person is the DRI of making sure actions are happening to resolve an incident. So what you should do as a cat herder in this case, first you get the process started. The person who are reporting there's a potential bug may not really know all the process they need to follow just to detect an incident, evaluate an incident, or whatever. That's why you just find the people that potentially knows that. And the first thing you will do as an IC is you acknowledge on the report. My philosophy is there's no bad report, even a false alert is a good alert. You'd rather be, you don't want to be sorry after missing things. So the first thing you will be doing is acknowledge there can be potential problem. The second thing is you form an incident response team. That team will be covering all the responsibility need to be done and communicate all the things resolving the incident from this perspective for these different stakeholders. So you need to form a team. So the IC, you ideally again have the process in the doc, and you have people who to summon, who to call to, so that they can help you to solve the incident together. So you are the one to form that team to get everyone that's needed to resolve that. A key call out I have here is I personally don't think the team, when it's responding to an incident, it's not the more the merrier, especially on some security bugs are just a little bit sensitive. You want to make sure that you don't introduce people that doesn't have a lot of context. However, they will be communicating that with the missing context, because I do feel sometimes it bring more chaos to the situation. So you got to find the right person do the right job, and finding that balance is an important thing for IC to do. And then the next thing I think is very important is to keep an incident doc. So you will be having a summary of the TLDR, what's going on. You will have the severity of the incident. If I am summoned, do I have to drop everything I'm doing to work on this, or I can still pet my cat for 5 minutes, and I can come back and check out the thing. So you should have those information for those who are just stepping in to help you. And you also should work with the engineers, work with the your response team to detail the impact and what's going on in the doc. So anyone that's added to the incident channel or response team later on can quickly gather the context of what's going on and find the gap and contribute the way they can be contributing. So give them the information effectively without you have to repeat the same thing 100 times is very important. And the next thing is keep a clear timeline of what are things happening, how we are doing things, what are the AIs and the POCs for doing that, and making sure we are check the boxes of the actions we need to be taken. Having that in a clear table, I found that super, super useful. And also, again, no one is superhero here, so we kind of need sleep. I know there are some Filecoin miners in this room who are do we need sleep? But no, you do need sleep. So keeping a clean doc also helps you to be if you need to step away for a couple hours or whatever, you can hand over the incident to someone else, and they just following what's going on in the doc, and they know exactly, okay, the next thing that needs to happen is in this AI table, and this is a person can make that happen. I will just go talk to that person, right? So it's really useful for handover things and so on and so forth. And last but not least, I personally feel we should have an ongoing communication and follow-up listed in a documentation as well, because again, there are so many stakeholders in the Filecoin, the ecosystem, not one single person talk to everyone. So there's always different teams talking to different stakeholders. So, and when talking to different stakeholders, you use the different language of explaining what's going on, what's the impact to them. So I do think having different teams chiming in to help with the comms will help a lot to do effective communication over there. And the last but not least, is one thing I think it's very important. I personally don't do a great job at is actually like post-mortem. It's like how you disclose everything, and also like I do think we should do better job at learning and reflecting on how we're dealing with incident and just like making the process getting better and better and more effective. So next time anything happen, you can be more calm. And I think that's like what good IC should be doing. Again, I'm not good at that, but that is a thing that I think should be happening. So to summarize, the kite herder here, what we should be doing as an IC over here is bring some order to the chaos. But what you are not supposed to be doing is like you are not the boss to tell everyone what to do. You are not the decision maker here. You are the facilitator of a decision making process to get all the information needed to resolve the incident effectively. And then you make sure that everyone is like doing their thing to resolve that. You are not the know-it-all. Like I'm not the one getting evaluating the severity of the things. I don't know what's the right thing to do. For example, the most recent mini ecosystem incident, I would say it's a staking protocol on Filecoin had some smart contract, saying that's impacting the stakers into that protocol, and we and at the same time, a network upgrade was scheduled at the time, but we didn't know much what's going on at the time, and we kind of have to make a decision on, okay, should we be reacting that as implementers or whatever? And how we go about that is like not making the decisions, like basically list the options that we should be doing. And I call my friends at the Forest team, at the Venus team, get them involved in like, okay, this is what's going on. We as implementers, should we be doing anything? Let's having a conversation and making a decision. So again, you as an IC, you're not the one making the decisions. However, you should facilitate, again, the decision-making process to provide the people the information they needed or get the information people needed to make those decisions. And that's the IC role. So a couple challenges and area of improvements that I can see over here is the tools and the process. As everyone know, Protocol Lab was one of the founding teams, is the founding teams of Filecoin. So a lot of the initial process development was held within the Protocol Labs, but then we ship a decentralized network, right? So it's not one company running this whole decentralized network. It's a lot of network team that are doing all the things, but when the company goes, it's like, okay, you have systems that a company use, but those tools might not be that effective when you're trying to work with millions of network teams that are participating in the same protocol but doesn't work for a company. So I do feel like, especially now many teams are graduated from Protocol Labs and become an independent team in the network, I feel like we can use better tools and process that facilitating across teams that are orgs that's working in the Filecoin ecosystem, but contributing to the same resolution of the incident. I think we can do better here. A quick example here is before the alerting, the paging tooling, we are using OpsGenie. It was under a Protocol Lab account, and I believe only the people with a Protocol Lab email account can be accessing that for longest time. And I'm like, oh, okay, I don't even have a Protocol AI email account anymore. How can I page people and get involved? And then that's where the foundation started to build, their own instance, just to pull all the people in the Filecoin ecosystem on that platform. So that's one of the things we have done, and I think there are more things like that we can be doing better. So that's one of the area of improvement. The second one is the expectations. I feel like resolving incident is not only one team's job. It's not one person's job. I feel like all the network participants should be caring about the network security. But there are certain teams in the network should be held more responsibilities of that thing. It's okay, there should exist teams or individuals. They just treat network security as their top priority, in my humble opinion. Maybe they are getting paid to do that, or whatever. There should be some incentive for a group of people to be doing that. And I feel like that level of expectation of who should be feeling that was not that strong in the Filecoin ecosystem. So those teams, again, in my very biased opinion, it should be Filecoin Foundation, it should be like core dev implementers, it should be the community members, because like, again, we are all benefiting from like, this network, and we should be carrying. And especially the first two is like, the first two group is because we are leveraging the network money, the token supply that we're getting paid to do a job to make Filecoin great. So why are we not caring about Filecoin security? So I do think certain teams and certain individuals should be caring more about network security in general. And I think if we can establish that expectation even more, that would be awesome. The other thing is like severity category. So there are things like very abstract. It's a table in my head. I think we have that in some docs as well, but it's a table in my head. So there are like step 1, 2, 3, 4 things. And step 1 is like literally everyone, drop everything. That's the thing you should be working on resolving, like the chain audit or whatever. And the step 2 is like, okay, you should actually working on that, but you don't have to give up your dinner or whatever to jump onto that. And there are step 3 is like, oh, this is a thing you need to keep an eye on. Step 4 is like, okay, yeah, it's a thing we need to do more research and to do that. But there are those kind of things. We have some like definition of that when we launched the network. However, the network has evolved a lot, and I feel like that category should be upgraded, especially when we introduce FVM. Before, we don't have user programmability over there, so like most of the critical incident that can happen is in the core protocol and developed by a group of like core people, right? So like they're less. But when FVM is introduced, there's a question of, okay, if there's a smart contract developed by the community, developed by the network users, and it's get on the chain, somehow it's creating a draining hole that like people just can like steal people's Filecoin, whatever. Do you react? Is that a step 1? Arguably, likely it's not a L1 protocol problem, it's an application level thing, but like, should we care? Right? Like, so there's like a lot of open question there, and I would be interested in having more conversation on like, what's the severity category, how do we respond in general, and on things like that. And the other thing, like I said, I feel like I don't do great at is the postmortem disclosure of the things. Many people probably don't know the team I'm in, we have been resolving, I would say over 20 to 30 step 1 to step 4 in the past couple years, but the community is only, very aware of maybe 5 to 10 of them, especially for storage provider, because when things are impacting them to producing the block or doing window posts, that's more realized. But there are like subtle things like, okay, there's a bug in the libp2p, the web transport like protocol we are using. There's a bug there. We are like, okay, there's no need to panic in the whole community, so we are just gonna fix that and ship in a patch and let it go. I do feel like we should do a better job of like disclosing those things in general. But that's one of the things I'm hoping that we can get better at. And call to actions. First one, get involved, get onboarded to the new system. I feel like a lot of people do want to contribute. So like what I was talking about, like expectation things, right? I was not coming from like a judgmental or like a place or whatever. I just feel like there's a lot of information people in this room probably doesn't even know existed. They don't know there's a process. They don't know there's a upstream or the monitoring or a channel you should even be involved in. So if you are one of those people, or you are implementers, you are a core dev, that you do want to get involved on helping resolving the network incident, get involved. Talk to Ken here. He will point you to, he will tell you the right thing you should, be a part of, and then, there's always something you can contribute to. So help us. The other thing is like, if you do know better tools to be built to help like detecting and resolving the incident, or like proactively helping us to avoid this kind of incident. Like, I was very interested in the fuzzing thing that was like someone was talking about. Like those things can proactively help us prevent those things. I think it's very useful. So if you are building that, talk to us, talk to the implementers. We would love to be working with you. And if you want to be an IC, I would love to chat with you. I can do a brain dump on you, and there's things I don't do really well, again, like the postmortem or whatever. Let's work together. So that we can divide and conquer, we can make Filecoin a secure, more like, have a higher uptime distributed system altogether. And I think if you do want to collaborate, have ideas, or if you want to report security bug, please disclose it in a responsible way by email security@feel.org. Don't post a message on Slack and be like, I found a critical bug, I can get crashed. No, do it responsibly. And you have all the resources there on how you should be doing that. And yeah, that's just my closing thing these days. Let's make Filecoin better together, keep it secured. And I'm Jennifer, working at Feel Us. I'm Jenny Juju on GitHub, Slack, Twitter, and all those platforms. So if you want to connect with me, you can find me there.